My mother slid the manila envelope across the kitchen table the same way she'd slide a plate of food to a dog. No eye contact, no explanation, just a flat push with her fingertips, like the paper itself was beneath her. "Your father and I need you to sign these," she said, already turning back toward the stove. "Kevin's lawyer needs them by Friday." I looked down at the envelope, then at my brother Kevin sitting across from me with his arms crossed and that same smile he'd worn since childhood, the one that meant he'd already won something and was just waiting for me to find out what. I didn't open the envelope. I didn't ask what was inside. I picked up my coffee cup, took one slow sip, set it down, and said, "I'll take a look." My mother exhaled like I'd just agreed to donate a kidney. "Good," she said. "I knew you'd understand." I did understand. I just didn't understand it the way she thought I did. Have you ever been handed a document your own family expected you to sign without reading? That was me. My name is Claire. I'm 31 years old. I'm a real estate attorney at a mid-sized firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. For most of my adult life, I've been the family member my parents called when something needed fixing, the lease that needed reviewing, the contractor who needed a strongly worded letter, the insurance dispute that needed someone who actually understood what subrogation meant. I was useful in the way a good tool is useful. You keep it in the drawer. You don't take it to dinner. Kevin was different. Kevin was the story my parents told at Christmas. Kevin was the reason my father's chest puffed out at church. Kevin was 3 years older than me, broadly handsome in a forgettable way, and absolutely, catastrophically, breathtakingly bad with money. He'd burned through a restaurant concept in 2019, lost $40,000 on a sports memorabilia business in 2021 that, as far as I could tell, consisted entirely of buying signed jerseys on eBay and attempting to resell them at double the price to his friends. He'd borrowed from my parents so many times that the loans had stopped being called loans. They were just called helping Kevin get on his feet. My parents had been helping Kevin get on his feet for 11 years. Kevin apparently had very weak ankles. Through all of it, every failed venture, every panicked Sunday phone call, every emergency wire transfer, my parents' faith in him had not diminished by a single degree. "He's talented," they said. "He just needs the right opportunity. He's a visionary. The market isn't ready for him yet." I was not a visionary. I had passed the bar on my first attempt, paid off my student loans in 4 years, bought a condo at 28, and was quietly doing something my parents did not know about and would not have understood even if I had explained it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The envelope sat on my passenger seat the entire drive home. I didn't open it until I was inside my condo, shoes off, glass of water poured, sitting at my kitchen table under good light. It took 4 minutes to read the documents. Then I sat very still for a long time. My parents were proposing to transfer the deed of our family home, a 4-bedroom property in Raleigh, that my grandparents had built in 1974, and that my parents had inherited free and clear in 2011 into Kevin's name. Solely Kevin's name. The stated reason, buried in the third paragraph of a poorly drafted transfer agreement, was to allow Kevin to use the property as collateral for a business loan he was attempting to secure. My parents had owned that house outright for 13 years. No mortgage, no liens, pure equity, somewhere around $420,000 based on recent comps I happen to know because I pay attention to the Raleigh market. They were proposing to hand that equity to Kevin so he could borrow against it for his newest venture, something called Apex Home Innovations LLC, which I had not heard of until this moment. There was a signature line for me at the bottom, a quit claim deed. They needed me to sign away any potential future claim to the property to make the title clean for the lender. They had not asked if I wanted to. They had not offered me anything in return. They had not mentioned it once before, sliding the envelope across the table. The document had been prepared by someone named T. Greer, attorney at law, whose address was in a strip mall in Cary. I took a photo of every page. Then I put the envelope in my work bag. I did not sign anything. I want to be honest about what I felt in those first few hours because people expect me to say I was furious. I wasn't. I was something colder than fury. Fury is hot and fast. It makes you say things you have to apologize for later. What I felt was the particular quiet clarity that comes when something you've suspected for years is finally confirmed in writing. They had never planned to include me. I wasn't a daughter who'd been overlooked. I was a resource that had been utilized, and the utilization was ongoing. That night I called my best friend Danielle and read her the documents over the phone. "They want you to sign a quitclaim deed?" Danielle said slowly. "So your brother can take out a loan against your grandparents' house?" "Correct." "And they're not giving you anything?" "Correct." "Claire, I know you're not going to sign it." "No," I said. I wasn't going to sign it, but I also wasn't going to tell them that yet. There was a pause. Danielle has known me since law school. She recognized the tone. "What are you going to do?" she asked. I said, "I'm going to find out what Kevin is actually borrowing money for, and then I'm going to make a decision." This is where I have to tell you about the other thing, the thing my parents didn't know. 18 months earlier, I had been approached by a boutique investment group called Meridian Capital Partners. They were small, 6 partners, very selective, focused exclusively on distressed residential and light commercial real estate in the Southeast. A senior partner named Judith Chen had seen a presentation I'd given at a bar association conference on title defect litigation and had reached out afterward. We'd had coffee, then dinner, then several more dinners. The offer she eventually made me was unconventional. They weren't looking for another associate. They were looking for someone with my specific background: real estate law, title work, an eye for the kind of quiet structural problems in property deals that most people missed until it was far too late to come in as a junior partner on a specific fund they were building. The fund strategy was simple on its surface. Identify distressed debt on undervalued properties, acquire the debt at a discount, and either work out a resolution with the borrower or proceed to foreclosure and acquire the underlying asset. In plain English, we bought bad loans at a discount and then became the lender. I had used every liquid dollar I had, plus a carefully structured personal loan that Judith had helped me arrange, to buy into the fund. My parents thought I still worked exclusively at my law firm. I did. Technically, Meridian was a private arrangement, not a conflict with my employer. But it meant that for the past 18 months, I had been quietly in the business of understanding exactly what happens when someone borrows against real estate they cannot afford to lose. I knew this world. I knew every corner of it. I knew what a desperate borrower looked like in a loan application and what the property looked like 6 months after closing when the payment stopped. I knew which lenders were aggressive and which were patient. I knew how to read a debt instrument the way a doctor reads an X-ray, not just the obvious break, but the stress fractures nobody else noticed yet. So when I pulled Apex Home Innovations LLC in the North Carolina Secretary of State database that night, I wasn't just a concerned sister. I was a professional. Apex Home Innovations had been registered 4 months ago. Kevin was listed as the sole member and registered agent. The stated business purpose was residential renovation and property improvement services. The registered address was my parents' house. I ran a UCC filing search. Nothing. No existing secured creditors, which was consistent with a brand new entity. Then I searched the lender Kevin was supposedly working with, a company called Bridgepoint Lending Solutions. I found them. They were real, technically licensed in North Carolina, with a few years of operating history, primarily originating hard money loans. Hard money, short-term, high interest rate, asset-backed, the kind of lending that makes sense when a borrower has equity but no income history. The kind of lending that can become catastrophic when the borrower doesn't understand the terms. I requested a copy of the loan term sheet from Kevin, under the pretense of wanting to review it before I signed anything. He texted it to me the next morning, along with a voice message telling me not to overthink it and that Mom and Dad were completely on board and had already talked to their own guy, and everything was totally fine. The term sheet was not totally fine. The loan amount was $250,000. The interest rate was 14%. The term was 18 months, interest only, with a balloon payment of the full principal due at maturity. There was a personal guarantee requirement, meaning if Apex Home Innovations defaulted, Kevin was personally liable. There were prepayment penalties. There was a default provision that allowed Bridgepoint to accelerate the full balance and initiate foreclosure proceedings within 30 days of a missed payment. My parents were not co-borrowers. They were not guarantors. In their understanding, they were simply helping Kevin get collateral. The house was just a formality, they would have said. Kevin had a plan. I sat with that term sheet for a long time. Here is what I knew from 18 months of watching this exact type of transaction play out. Kevin had no revenue history, no employees, no contracts, and no demonstrated capacity to service a 14% hard money loan on a renovation business that did not yet exist. The balloon payment would come due in 18 months. If he couldn't refinance into conventional financing by then, which would require a profitable operating business, which this was not, Bridgepoint could foreclose on my grandparents' house. My parents would lose their home, the home they'd inherited, the home they'd lived in for over a decade, the home where I had grown up, where my grandmother had kept her garden, where my grandfather's tools were still hanging in the garage in exactly the order he'd left them. Kevin knew all of this, at least abstractly. He just didn't believe it would happen to him. It never had before because my parents had always caught him. They were the net. They had always been the net. What Kevin didn't know was that the net was the very thing he was about to set on fire. I did not sleep much that week. I went to work. I came home. I sat with the documents and the term sheet and the Secretary of State filings spread across my kitchen table. I thought I was not going to sign the quitclaim deed. That decision was made. Without my signature, the title wasn't clean. And without a clean title, Bridgepoint wouldn't fund the loan. I was structurally the one thing standing between my parents' home and a 14% hard money lender. But if I simply refused to sign and explained why, my parents would be angry with me. Kevin would be angry with me. There would be a family meeting where everyone talked at once. My mother would cry. My father would say I was always trying to undermine Kevin. Kevin would say I was jealous. Nothing would be resolved. And 3 months later, they would find another way to do the same thing. I had seen that movie. I had been in that movie. I needed something different. I needed my parents to understand what Kevin actually was not through my words, which they had already decided not to trust, but through facts documented, undeniable, arrived in the mail, facts. So I started digging. I went back to the Secretary of State database and searched Kevin's full name as a registered agent and organizer across all entity types. I found 3 other companies I hadn't known about. One was a defunct LLC from 2020, the sports memorabilia thing. One was a holding company with no apparent activity. The third was registered in 2022 and was still technically active, something called KVD Property Group LLC. I searched KVD Property Group in the county recorder's database. KVD Property Group had purchased a small rental property in Durham in 2022. It had been purchased using a hard money loan, different lender, same type of instrument. The loan had matured in early 2024. There was a notice of default on record. The property had been deeded back to the lender in lieu of foreclosure 6 months ago. Kevin had already done this. He had already borrowed against an asset using a hard money loan. He had already failed to pay it back. The lender had already taken the property. My parents didn't know, or if they knew, they had processed it in the way they processed all of Kevin's failures, as a temporary setback, a learning experience, a reason to help him even more. For the next few hours, I printed everything: the KVD registration, the deed of trust, the notice of default, the deed in lieu. I organized it in chronological order, labeled each page clearly, and placed the entire packet into an envelope. Then I thought about who else needed to see it. Here's the part I want you to understand. I didn't do what I did next out of spite. I want to be honest about my motivations, because I think people sometimes tell these stories as if the person in my position is purely heroic, acting only from justice and grace. I was angry. I was tired. I had spent my whole adult life being the responsible one, the quiet one, the one who handled things and asked for nothing. And I was looking at a document that asked me to silently hand away my grandparents' legacy so my brother could attempt his 4th failed business venture. I was also professionally very good at what I was about to do. Through Meridian, I had spent 18 months cultivating relationships with every significant hard money lender operating in the Carolinas, including Bridgepoint Lending Solutions. I knew the woman who ran their underwriting. Her name was Patricia Holt. We had sat next to each other at a lending conference in Asheville 8 months earlier and had spent 2 hours talking about the particular patterns of borrower misrepresentation she saw in loan applications. She was sharp, thorough, and deeply uninterested in making loans that were going to end up in litigation. I called her on a Wednesday morning, introduced myself by name and by my Meridian affiliation, and asked if she had 10 minutes. She gave me 15. I did not tell her what to do. I am a lawyer. I am careful about that kind of thing. What I did was ask professionally and collegially whether her underwriting process for a given application would include a search of prior entity filings and prior loan performance under related borrowers. She said, "Of course it would." I said, "I thought that was very sound practice." I mentioned in passing and without reference to any specific application that I had recently come across some interesting Secretary of State filings involving prior hard money defaults that were not immediately visible without a thorough, multi-entity search. She said that sounded like exactly the kind of thing her team looked for. I thanked her for her time. 2 weeks later, Kevin called me furious. Bridgepoint had declined his application. They'd found the KVD default. They weren't going to tell him why in detail, lenders rarely do, but he knew somehow that the prior default had surfaced, and he had decided with the iron certainty of someone who had never once examined his own behavior that I was responsible. He showed up at my condo on a Saturday morning without calling. I opened the door and he was standing there in a jacket that still had a retail crease in it, jaw tight, phone in his hand. "You called them," he said. "Good morning?" I said. "Don't," he said. "Don't do the lawyer thing. Did you call Bridgepoint?" "I have a lot of professional relationships," I said. "I talked to a lot of people in the lending space. You sabotaged me." I looked at him. He was 43 inches taller than me and had been using that height since we were children, leaning over me in doorways, standing too close in arguments, taking up physical space, the way he took up financial space, expansively, carelessly, as if there would always be more room. "Kevin," I said, "Bridgepoint declined you because you defaulted on a loan 3 years ago and didn't disclose it. That's not sabotage. That's underwriting." His face changed. Not softened, hardened in a different direction. "Mom and Dad are going to hear about this," he said. "I know," I said. "And when they do, you're going to have to explain the Durham property to them. Have a good weekend." I closed the door. I heard from my mother 40 minutes later. Her call, I answered. "Kevin says you interfered with his loan." "No," she said. "Hello, Mom," I said. "I need you to sit down and listen to me for 10 minutes. Not to respond. Just to listen, Claire." 10 minutes, I said. "That's all I'm asking. I've never asked you for much. Give me 10 minutes." There was a pause, then fine. I told her about KVD Property Group. I told her about the Durham property, the default, the deed in lieu. I told her about the terms of the Bridgepoint loan, the 14% rate, the 18-month balloon, the foreclosure provision. I told her that without a successful business generating sufficient revenue, there was no realistic path to refinancing, and that at the end of 18 months, if Kevin couldn't pay, Bridgepoint could take the house. My mother was quiet for a long moment. "Kevin said it was a sure thing," she finally said. "Kevin said the restaurant was a sure thing," I said gently. "He said the memorabilia business was a sure thing." Another silence. "Your father already agreed to this," she said. Not as an argument, more like thinking out loud. "I know," I said. "I'm not telling you what to do, Mom. I'm telling you what the documents say. What you do with that is your decision." I heard her breathing on the line, slow and effortful. "I need to talk to your father," she said. "Okay," I said. "Don't say anything to Kevin yet. I won't." She hung up. I sat at my kitchen table and looked at my hands for a while. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt the way you feel after a long surgery in which everything went correctly, precise, drained, oddly empty. What happened in the following 3 weeks, I only partially witnessed. My parents had a series of conversations with Kevin that I was not part of. My father apparently pulled the KVD documents himself and verified everything I had told them. Kevin, confronted with the Durham default, did what Kevin always did, he explained. He contextualized. The market had turned. The contractor had been unreliable. It wasn't his fault. My father, who had worked 31 years as a civil engineer and who understood at some fundamental level the relationship between structural decisions and structural failures, apparently did not find the explanation sufficient this time. He called me on a Tuesday evening. "You should have told us sooner," he said. I had roughly 15 responses to that. I chose silence. "Your grandfather built that house," he said. "I'm not going to lose it." "No," I said. "You're not. The deed transfer did not happen. Kevin did not get the loan. My signature, which they had needed and never thought to ask nicely for, was simply never given, and the whole apparatus collapsed without it. I did not make a speech about it. I did not demand an apology. I did not call a family meeting. But there is one more thing, and it is the thing I want to tell you about most. 4 months after the Bridgepoint application was declined, Meridian Capital Partners acquired a performing loan portfolio from a regional bank that was consolidating its assets. It was a standard portfolio transaction, the kind Judith and I had done 3 times before. We reviewed the underlying collateral, confirmed the performing status of each loan, and closed the acquisition. One of the loans in that portfolio was a small commercial line of credit secured by a lien on a Raleigh residential property. I did not know this when we acquired the portfolio. I found out during the post-closing collateral review when I was going through the supporting documentation, and the property address made me stop. "The lien is on my parents' house," I said. Kevin, at some point before the Bridgepoint application, had apparently found a smaller, quieter lender and had persuaded my parents to allow a lien on the property as security for a $25,000 line of credit he'd taken out for Apex. The lien had been granted. My parents had signed. I had not been asked. The lien had been sold along with dozens of others in the portfolio Meridian had just acquired. I sat in Judith's office for a long time after I found that document. "You know this property," Judith said. It wasn't a question. "It's my parents' house," I said. She was quiet, which is one of the things I respect most about her. "What do you want to do?" she asked. I thought about my grandfather's tools in the garage. I thought about my grandmother's garden, which my mother had kept alive for over a decade because letting it die felt wrong. I thought about 11 years of Kevin getting on his feet. I thought about the envelope slid across the kitchen table like food to a dog. "I want to resolve the lien," I said, properly, on terms that protect the property. Judith nodded once. "Draw it up," she said. I called my parents that evening and told them what I had found. My mother made a sound I had not heard from her before. Not quite a cry, not quite a gasp. Something that existed in between. Something that belonged in the category of sounds that mean a person has finally seen a thing clearly that they had been choosing not to see. "How did you?" she started. "It was in a portfolio my firm acquired," I said. "I'm the lien holder now, Mom." The silence on the line was very long. "What does that mean?" my father asked. "It means I can foreclose on the lien, or I can resolve it," I said. "I'm going to resolve it. I'm going to structure a repayment plan that Kevin will fund from his own income with no involvement from your assets. When it's paid off, the lien is released and the title is clean." "Why would you do that?" my mother asked. Her voice had a quality I hadn't heard in a very long time. Small, uncertain, nothing like the woman who had slid the envelope across the table. "Because it's your house," I said, "yours and Dad's, not Kevin's, not the bank's, yours." No one spoke for a moment. "Claire," my father said, and then stopped. "He's not a man who finishes sentences like that one." "I know, Dad," I said. Kevin was furious when my parents told him about the repayment agreement. He called it a setup. He called it a trap. He said I had orchestrated the entire thing. He was not entirely wrong, but he was wrong in the way that people are wrong. When they understand the mechanism of something without understanding the cause, he knew what had happened, but had never once considered why it had been necessary. He called me once at 11 p.m. on a weeknight. "You think you're so smart," he said. "I think I'm pretty good at my job," I said. "This isn't over, Kevin." I said the lien is being resolved. The house is secure. Mom and Dad are fine. The only thing that isn't over is the repayment schedule, which he agreed to and which has very clear terms. I paused. I wrote them. He hung up. "Kevin is making his monthly payments. He is on time so far. I don't know if it will last, and I have documented contingencies if it doesn't. My parents and I speak every Sunday now. We don't talk about any of this directly. We talk about my mother's garden and my father's retirement timeline and a trip they're thinking about taking to Portugal. It is not the relationship I wanted for most of my life, and it is not nothing. The quitclaim deed they had asked me to sign is still in my work bag, unsigned. I leave it there on purpose, not as a reminder to them. They don't know it's there. As a reminder to myself of what nearly happened, and how quietly it almost did, and what it meant that the only thing standing between my grandparents' legacy and a 14% hard money loan was a daughter they had almost forgotten to value. I don't hold it against them the way I used to. Understanding why something happened isn't the same as approving of it. They had made a story about Kevin, and they needed it to be true. I was the evidence that it wasn't. And for a long time, they treated evidence the way people treat things they can't afford to look at. But I had been looking. I had always been looking. And when it mattered, I knew exactly what I saw. If this story felt familiar to you, if you've been the one in the drawer, the useful one, the one who asked for nothing and was given less, you're not alone.